Now that it's actually January, can we just admit that 2016 wasn't entirely cancerous for a minute? I mean, yeah, blah 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 politics. And yes,
Carrie Fisher did die right at the end there to cap off the celebrity deaths of people who had generally fallen off the public's radar.
with somebody who was much more in the public eye and nobody really saw coming. Still feels like she died too young at 60. But at least we had some good music this year.
If I was you, I'd wanna be me too.
Okay, Megan, you are not really helping my case, but I do want to bring something up. My list is based on the year-end Hot 100 from Billboard for 2016. I disqualify any songs that were also on the list for 2015. And I'll be honest, a lot of the really, really bad stuff didn't even make it. And in 2015, I noticed that there was a lot of really, really bad stuff, Silento, that did make it, okay? So, you know, it wasn't even that bad. And here are 10 songs that I happen to like in an order based on how much I like them.
Oh no, see you walking around.
You know, if you told me last year that someone with the last name of Jonas would be making this list, I would have called you crazy.
Especially since I would have assumed you were talking about Nick Jonas, and as much as I'm the only human being on the planet that like chains and close,
I'm not sure if they'd ever land in my best songs of the year. Well, maybe in a year like 2016, where a lot of the music was dark and dreary. Don't get me wrong, I happen to like dark and dreary. But you know what? Sometimes you just need to enjoy some baked goods on the beach. That's what this song is about, right?
the production is very bouncy, and we don't get enough lively bass in music nowadays.
I mean, don't get me wrong, there was no shortage of thumping bass, but there wasn't really a whole lot of spring to it, you know?
In many ways, this kind of reminds me of a less esoteric Gorillaz song.
But that comparison objectively sucks. You know what I will compare it to? Junior Senior.
Very bouncy, very fun, definitely sexual, but not overtly so. Hell, I think I can even hear the same type of synth in the chorus.
So yeah, turns out the Jonas Brothers are a lot more talented when they're away from each other. Well, two of them are anyway. Yeah, I don't actually hate the whole vaguely Caribbean thing that's been going around. I just think it's really overdone, and to be honest, I have to be fair here. This song is part of the reason for it.
Despite the fact that, 21 Pilots are going specifically for somewhat of a Bob Marley-inspired reggaeton vibe.
This song actually made me think that these guys were kind of a post-ska type of act, and let's be honest, we need a new Sublime to show fuckers how it's done.
The only thing that really drags this song down a little bit is how unlinked some of the lyrics feel on their own.
And yes, I'm aware that the song has more meaning in the context of the full album, but when examining something as a hit song, I have to purposely take it out of context. And you know what? Even doing that, it's still a really good song, and anybody who thinks otherwise deserves to take a bullet for everybody in this room. Now, at the moment, you're probably wondering why I'm not really talking about that much as 21 Pilots as an artist, or why I'm not really bringing up the other songs that they charted with this year. There's a very good reason you might be asking that question. You probably already know the reason that you're asking that question. You probably already know. God damn, I haven't heard an acoustic guitar provide so much energy to a song since Feel Good Inc.
This song right here is proof that you don't need complexity to make a dance song or even electronic instruments.
And in case you haven't noticed, using a different tone from other stuff that came out in the same year kind of gets you a lot of credit on a list like this. Adele brings something very intangible to a song. She brings an energy without trying to add energy to a song. It's not even the best Adele song this year, okay? But you know what? Name me one other female solo act that has done half this good.
Oh, baby, look what you started.
Well, that was fast.
I'll be honest, I didn't even really hear the song until listening back to stuff for consideration for my best and worst lists.
But then this drop happened and I shit my pants.
How the fuck did I miss this all year? It came out in May, for God's sake!
Now, production alone isn't enough to make this list. Maybe because of the fact that it's one of the few high-energy songs where Ariana seems to work. The whispered vocals work really well on the verses, and in the chorus, she's capable of going to that higher level without getting mush-mouthed like she normally does. She does a little bit on the bridge and she gets drowned out a little bit, but congratulations, Ariana. You have managed to get my attention. Please don't fuck it up in 2017.
but you don't wanna be high like me. Never really know why.
I know I'm not the only person who laughed when I heard Mike Posner was back. I also know that I'm not the only person who, when they actually heard the song, went, "Where the fuck was this Mike Posner the first time, god damn it?"
Of course, the original version of this song was an acoustic number, but there's a reason other than this being the version people know that it charted.
And that reason is simple. It's a song about making club music and getting burned out. Doesn't that work a little bit better as a club song? Actually, let's play that sort of non-vocal hook again by itself for a minute. Doesn't it sound like the beat itself is fucking crying? That's some deep ass shit. Okay, yeah, it sounds very similar to other stuff that came out this year. But you know what? I feel it does so with a purpose.
Hello, it's me.
Adele, can you stop being objectively amazing for like 3 seconds? It's getting really annoying.
I mean, a piano ballad about trying to forgive yourself for the mistakes of your past doesn't seem like something you can screw up.
But then again, a lot of people didn't like 7 Years by Lucas Graham, so I guess you can?
Adele's usual songwriting and vocal abilities are fully on display. It's very relatable, and it's got that intangible energy to it.
And I'm probably objectively wrong for putting it this low. It's not the most high energy song. Fuck, what did I put above this again? So despite the fact that this was released as a single first, because of how much it got played last year, even though it wasn't even a single, I actually thought Ride was the first single from the album. And you know what? When I checked out the album, I heard one song that was my absolute favorite song on the album, and that song was
Fairly Local.
Oh, I also heard this, and I realized I'd found one of my new favorite bands.
The fact that I've been listening to this song for over a year and I'm still not sick of it in the least is a testament to how much I enjoy it.
But it's not like the song doesn't earn that. It's well written and relatable, which is certainly something that serves its favor. The instrumentalization works very well with this sort of uncertain vibe that the song was going for. 21 Pilots is very good at adding a lot of energy to those darker tones that have been pervading the entirety of 2016.
All my friends are heathens, take it slow.
Which is why it made so much sense to put them on the Suicide Squad soundtrack. Good lord, did that soundtrack blow the movie out of the water.
Something about Skrillex making a Joker theme just feels goddamn right. Sucker for Pain is but this is the song that really ties the movie together.
The song is mostly piano, drums, and vocals, but it's the vocals that really I want to talk about. The vocals use this very haunting tone that works very well for the subject matter, on top of the effects that they put on the vocals, really capturing that unhinged psychopath vibe that they're going for, along with some of the background sounds that they use. I'm actually kind of offended that I originally was not even going to put it on this list.
I used to be so happy, but without you here, I feel so low.
So you know what I was saying about that song Into You earlier? Multiply that by 1,000.
The stagnation in EDM I've officially dubbed Lean On-itis is destroyed by this song.
But not because it doesn't do the things that Lean On did, it's because it knows why they worked.
The singer sounds like she gives a shit, and so does the other one. The DJ Snake style hook isn't overbearing and, well, exactly like DJ Snake.
But I think one of the most important things about this one in particular is the writing. It doesn't try too hard to be creative, but it certainly doesn't rest on its laurels because of its formula. It's a good example of both less being more and more being more. Although now that I think about it, that also applies to my number one choice. But before we get there, let's go over some honorable what the fuck am I doing? You guys already know what the number one is.
I'm a motherfucking star boy.
And I have surprised absolutely no one.
First time I reviewed The Weeknd, I hated him. He sounded like he was trying to be something he wasn't.
Which, it was the song from the 50 Shades of Grey soundtrack, so yeah. You know what song really made me change my mind about The Weeknd? It wasn't Can't Feel My Face. Can't Feel My Face, certainly I will give credit for making me want to look deeper. No. The song that made me change my mind wasn't even on Beauty Behind the Madness.
Yeah, he did an amazing job with this cover, and this right here told me that Earned It was simply a mistake.
You know, normally when bringing up songs about bragging that are really good, the immediate example I go to is Rap God by Eminem, but there's a reason I do that.
Shady uses his lyricism to prove his point. He doesn't just say what he's comparing himself to and then brag about having money, he uses his lyrics to show that he deserves the title.
Now, Starboy is brilliant in a different way. He goes a little bit more conceptually than just random bragging.
I've already discussed in my review of the song how he does that, but essentially each verse has him bragging with a different purpose.
And for a lot of critics, I'm sure the fact that he's bragging at all would keep them from putting it anywhere close to the number one, even if they do like the song. But you know what? I don't care.
After all, if a song about leaving another man to die can be considered a classic, then clearly moral ambiguity is not an issue.
It all comes down to the charisma of the performer and their ability to exude the type of confidence that makes them not overbearing and, well, cheesy in some cases. And that's why Starboy is number one on my list. That and bias. Lots of bias. So much bias! Like all the bias in the world. You have no idea how much bias.